Abiud Gador, and greetings. I'm DJ Papa John, also known as Augustus John Antoine, now known as Noshi Neteno. I am an indigenous flesh and blood male of the Arawak descent in accord with the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. I am commercially white and American Indian because I do have a right to self-identify myself as such. And just to start off, I would like to give you the definitions of the race categories as defined on the SF-181, the OMB, US consensus, and really anytime you fill out a race and ethnicity form, whether it be for your work, credit application, you may want to reconsider what you're selecting. One being, well, I'll tell you that afterwards, but let me give you these definitions first. The definition of American Indian or Alaskan Native: a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, and who maintains tribal affiliation or community attachment. Now, the definition of white: a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Since melanated people such as myself are the first people on this terra or planet, we are the original European. We are the original Middle Eastern. And of course, you know, we are originally from North Africa. We were the first on the terra, anywhere here. This place called Turtle Island, or the United States of America, which is a corporation, we were the first anywhere. That's why we are indigenous. Now, the definition for black or African American is a person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. I recently asked a friend to name a black racial group of Africa, and she was totally confused. She said, "What is a black racial group?" Exactly. There's no such thing as a black racial group of Africa. And Chief Nanya L has put out a challenge for any scholar, anyone, to come out and name one, a black racial group of Africa. So by default, by selecting that you are black and this whole black power nonsense, you have no standing at law by selecting that. It was reiterated by President Barack Obama on a Tom Joyner Morning Show, October 16th, 2012. Tom Joyner interviewed President Barack Obama, and on the Tom Joyner Morning Show, he greets the president by saying, quote, "It's our first black president of the United States." President Barack Obama then replied, "Tom," and this is quote, "Tom, I do not look at myself as the first black president because the word black has no standing at law." And again, I said this was reiterated by President Barack Obama, October 16, 2012. Actually, it was the Dred Scott decision of 1857, to which has not been overturned to this day, to where Chief Justice Taney wrote in the majority decision, "In the opinion of the court, the legislation and histories of the times and the language used in the Declaration of Independence show that neither class of persons who had been imported as slaves nor their descendants, whether they had become free or not, were then acknowledged as a part of the people, nor intended to be included in the general words used in that memorable instrument. They had for more than a century before been regarded as beings of an inferior order and altogether unfit to associate with the white race, either in social or political relations, and so far inferior that they had no rights which the white man was bound to respect, and that the Negro might justly and lawfully be reduced to slavery for his benefit. So he later went to state that the Constitution was made for the white man, for the white family. Now, again, when you're selecting your race and ethnicity, you are self-identifying. You have the right to do so. So please, wake up, take that red pill. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back in the matrix. You have to call yourself white and not be afraid of it. White power, not white supremacy, white power. Because I'm seeing posts all over recently, the internet, social media, where people are now coming out saying that, white privilege is real. Yes, it is. And I am reaping some of the benefits of that since I've changed my race and ethnicity. My first positive experience that I can remember is shortly after changing my race and ethnicity, I was then notifying all of the corporations and some of the court cases that I had as well, notifying them of my race and ethnicity that had changed. So I turned this into the court via electronic filing. Now, I don't know if anyone has ever done electronic filing here in the state of Georgia, but they usually just let you make your errors, show up to court, and waste your time. However, I received an email from one of the court, I want to say she was a clerk in the appeal department, and she actually emailed me stating how my document was not in the right format, and it was actually my SF-181 that I was entering into a case. So I said I have to go meet this person because I've never received an email from the court for me filing documents. I've never, ever. So I go down and I ask for this Valerie Ellis, and it happens to be an Amorite lady. And she met me with a smile. And I don't know if she was shocked to see my my melanin. However, she continued to help me and continues to assist to this day, to where I can go there and speak with her. And I've never had friendly court officials like that, or anyone that works in the court. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I know it's not a coincidence. I know it is because I am now white commercially, and they have to treat you different. So when you see on the news how they're slapping juveniles that are in detention centers and shooting them in the back, choking them out, and wonder why police, gets paid time off, because blacks are not considered citizens. That term and word black has no standing at law. So you're making a big mistake. They have a right to do whatever they want to you if you've selected black. My next positive experience was actually in the state of Florida, city of Jacksonville, where here they love locking up melanated people. I was at an establishment to where I was disrespected by one of the security guards. He actually ended up striking me, so I put my hands back on him. And that's when the police came in, asked me to put my hands behind my back, all that. And I immediately started telling them, look, I said, you can't treat a white man like this. I'm white. I'm commercially white, American Indian. You can't treat me like this. And I don't know if it was instinct from the officer, but he automatically said, hey, we're not arresting you. We're just detaining you. We have to get your information. So I did hand him my ID. And he proceeded to ask me, well, why do you say you're white? And I said, why wouldn't I? I said, I am. And I proceeded to tell him about the Dred Scott decision and President Barack Obama's statement, how black has no standing at law. To make a long story short, he said, we cannot tell you to leave the premises but we would ask you politely, did you catch an Uber or did you drive? And if we could assist you in going somewhere else. They were very kind, and these were two black cops. When I say black, melanated. But we call them black because I'm sure their race and ethnicity is not white. So I haven't checked my credit score yet, but I'm sure that's gone up a couple points as well. But just do remember, black has no standing at law. Africa has no black racial groups. The Dred Scott decision, 1857, has yet to be overturned. Don't let them fool you, stating that the 13th and 14th Amendment was ratified to treat blacks like citizens. The Constitution of the United States is a dead document, so that's kind of irrelevant, and the courts have been voiding the Constitution, or the judges in the courts have been voiding the Constitution since 2002. So don't believe the hype. Let's wake up. Let's crash this matrix. Claim your whiteness. It's all white. White power.